This morning's daily workout. I hope everyone's doing really well. Happy Monday and good weather, right? Tell me what you're doing today, Gabby.
Oh my gosh. So I get to have this fantastic chat with you guys. And then it's my daughter's last day before starting reception. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
first day of school.
big
So we
day.
are going to go to the beach to just have a family day of adventure and laughter. And then I'll return to normality tomorrow and be a grown up again.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And 28 degrees. We are actually going up to 30 today. It looks like we're skipping
Oh,
spring and straight into summer for us. But yeah, for us, we actually choose to stay indoors and now start hiding from the weather.
you've been searching for it for the whole of summer and it's finally emerged. I'm running at it.
Exactly. Now, Gabby, listen, welcome to this week's daily workout. You are kicking us off. It's going to be a big week. It's all about talent sourcing. So thank you for agreeing to be Monday morning's guest. I knew we'd kick it off with a bang. So tell me a little bit about you. What do you do and how do you fit into the talent sourcing world?
So I am actually the CEO of a company called Tooled Up Raccoons. Makes
Cool
some
name.
obviously. So we are an AI sourcing armory for recruiters, the way we describe ourselves. So it's a piece of technology we have created, and it's 3 years old today, which is very exciting.
No, that's
It
amazing.
helps you guys build Boolean strings, enrich them, and really get that speed and accuracy when you're going to hunt for candidates across any platform. So it's very exciting. And I just love it because it actually just helps you find the best talent rather than getting stuck at the surface, right? Who gets annoyed
Absolutely.
with that? Like everyone, right?
Yeah, totally, 100%. Now tell me, Gabby, where did this love affair with Boolean begin? Tell
Oh
us.
my gosh, it was actually an optional love affair. Actually
Oh,
optional. I wasn't forced into recruitment. So my background is banking. I used to work at JP Morgan, not in
oh, you look like a banker.
recruitment. Yeah, back in the day, like not in recruitment, nothing at all like that, all in sales. And throughout my career, I was kind of like, this doesn't feel like enough. This isn't ticking my boxes. And at one point, I kind of stepped out and joined my husband's recruitment business as an operations director and was like, I'm going to clean up your business. And I was watching the team source. I know, gotta love it when you tell your husband, I'm going to clean up your business, right? He
Yeah,
loves me a lot at this point.
sure, sure. Yeah, I'm glad you did it early on in the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, we're still together, so it can't have been that bad. But what was interesting is
Right.
as I went through the business and was kind of looking at operational inefficiencies, etc., I was watching how they were sourcing for talent, and I was suddenly like, I really like Boolean. Like, I really like the logical process, the form of
Yep.
control you can have, rather than being like, here's a filter, let's just hope it works. And you don't actually know what's happening in the background, but getting some control. But then I realized there were so many inefficiencies in terms of building it, enriching it, using it in different platforms. And I
Yep.
was like, there has to be a smarter way. And my operational geek went into overdrive. And that's literally, it started 3 years ago. And I've just fallen more and more in love with it. Like, no matter what role you pick up, no matter what piece of technology you get your hands on, Boolean is a consistent language of love for recruiters. And it should be for every single recruiter, no matter how niche you are or broad you are. It should be your first love language. And I am obsessed and I can't stop talking about it. Like the fact that Maria's words weren't Boolean or raccoon first was absolutely gobsmacking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's not actually even just for us at work. I mean, if you want to get better results from your Google searches, you want to find a better result of where to stay on your on holiday. If that Boolean logic is unbelievable.
I've
But
seen
on
this.
that note, I
Sorry,
want to
you.
touch.
Oh,
Sorry, no worries. I just wanted to touch on what you were saying there is that it's the should be the love language for recruiters, which I completely agree with. But why are so many recruiters so bad at Boolean? Like, what's your take on that?
Do you know what? I think it's because if you look back at historic training, right? Everyone starts this conversation about Boolean being like, it was created by a mathematician. And every normal person goes, maths. No, I left that behind at GCSEs. I never want to talk maths and algebra and technicalities. And I think it just scares them. And then, like, I always turn around to people and go, look, take a deep breath and remember that every single day you use Boolean. And they're like, what are you talking about, Gaz?
Yeah.
I'm like, you got dressed this morning, didn't you? You walked to your wardrobe and you used and or not. I want to wear shirt and a top, or shirt and shorts, shirt and a skirt.
Yeah.
I want to wear black and white stripes or blue. Oh no, I don't want to wear pink. Right? You're using it every single day. But I think
It's like a rationale.
exactly. And all we're doing is teaching you to put it into a search. But they're words you know, and or not, brackets, quotations, like asterisks, they're all familiar visuals and words that you use, but the maths element scares people. So you just spin it. Just because a mathematician created it by
Yeah,
no stretch of the imagination is that what it really is in reality when you're coming to write it. It's just a technique. And I think that's why
exactly.
people get scared and stop.
Now, Gabby, don't you think that it's also because, it's been, as you say, I mean, you alluded to it, it's been so badly taught. And I think people are just like, I've done Boolean, I've done training, I didn't get it, I didn't understand it, I can't code. And I'm like, hold on, we're not talking about coding here. And I think that hopefully, I mean, that's what I feel sometimes that, you and I are leading the charge on like, the women's mission to get people to understand Boolean because we're so passionate about it. But I think that that's got a big part to play, that, notoriously it's got a very bad reputation.
It's been awful, and one of the biggest challenges with it is a lot of that historic training has been dumped on YouTube or on various other training platforms, right? And you're sitting there looking at it being like, please don't watch that. But lots of companies are like, well, I'm not going to train you how to do Boolean because you can watch a free YouTube video. I mean, what goes wrong when you watch a free YouTube video, right? Nothing could possibly go wrong. But they stumble across the really like literally like someone has sucked the life out of training and then gone and dumped it on YouTube. And therefore the only outcome is the fact that that new recruit or even a seasoned recruiter just looks at it and goes, wow, that's boring. And as soon as something's boring, you're checked out, you're done. You don't even care what's going on and you just stop. And because there is this, oh, just go and get it for free model, when recruiters go and try and apply it and they get a bit stuck, where do they go? Who do they ask that question to? And if the whole company isn't leveled up and knowing how to do this, you're all just looking at each other going, does anyone know? Oh, no, no one knows. Oh, let's just go back to where we were. And it just doesn't elevate the whole organization. It's lazy and sloppy.
Exactly, 100%. So which brings me to actually something that we were talking about last week when we jumped on a call, which was very entertaining. When it comes to Boolean and thinking differently, and always, the synonyms, and a lot of people are like, geez, we haven't spoken about a synonym since we finished, school and all of that. We were talking about different languages that come into play when you are searching using Boolean. So you and I had a very good chat about that. So just elaborate for us, share your pearls of wisdom. I think people would benefit from it.
So what really fascinates me is when recruiters, whether they're agency or in-house, doesn't really matter, have roles for individuals that could be filled in international countries. So for example, if you've got a client in Germany, right, and they say, I want an English-speaking candidate who's a specialist in software engineering, for example, what recruiters will do is they'll dump in some filters. Okay, well, those filters are in English. Thanks very much for that one. Then they might start dabbling around in the world of Boolean and start getting a bit more sexy with their stuff. But again, their Boolean is still in English. A lot of native speakers will write their profiles in their native language. So if they're shocking, like I wrote it in English, shocking. Candidates in Germany, anywhere else in the world will write their profile in their native language, agnostic of how many other languages they speak. But do you know what gets really sexy? Is I did a search with a client the other day for a role in Canada, and he was like, I've did it in English. I was like, well, what about French?
That's a good one.
What we did is ran it in French, and I was like, wasn't good enough. So we did a combination search where we had French and English. Oh my God, the results were mental because people were like, they'll write their job titles in English, but their keywords in their profile were in French.
Wow. Okay.
And hey, you have to be careful though, right? Like you and I both know when you translate Boolean strings, the ors, ands, or nots must maintain English. Okay. So really well, because we're such a geek at this, as part of our technology stack, we have that functionality, right? We can translate into like 103 languages at a click of a button. It's pretty cool and keep the format. But you've got to make sure that you have the operators in English and in your capitals, right? All the formatting counts. But also when you do translation, be careful because a lot of these platforms, a lot of like Googles and things, translate into only the masculine.
Yeah.
Right? What is that? Like it's not
very frustrating. Yeah.
It's so annoying. Where we've managed to find a way to get the feminine and the masculine. So things like software engineer in German, English and the masculine and feminine are different, right? So you've got to think about it. But if you're doing an international hunt, just because you need the candidate to speak English, let's get your search out there. Let's include those alternative languages and pick up the phone and see what level of English they really speak. Because if they flag in their profile they can speak it, you should be having a chat with them.
So surely this should be leading into LinkedIn and their filters. You know, we can't just leave this without talking about the Blue Devil. Surely their filters should have the masculine and the feminine, you know, across all regions. Because I mean, that's not a thing.
You would think so, but this is where, fast forward 5 years, my company will be sold for like millions and millions to LinkedIn Recruiter because I've actually made them smarter than they have the ability to do. But unfortunately, I think with a lot of stuff like LinkedIn and job boards and CRMs, there are ones out there that start dabbling in things, but they're not really hunkering into sourcing. Does that make sense? Kind of go, oh, we let you find people. And it's like, well, you're making my life a living nightmare. Like, you're not helping me. You're actually hindering me. Like, I laugh about the filters in LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people can't even get their tags right in their own CRM with a couple of thousand people. LinkedIn's got 930 million people in there, and we think they're all going to fit neatly into a filter? Come on, kid. Like, this just isn't going to happen. So we've got
something that LinkedIn needs to do as well is when it comes to their filters, like update them more than once a year. Because I mean, things are changing so much, terminology, tech stacks, you know, all of those things. And I think that, you know, the update rate is not keeping up.
No, it doesn't. But I think with everything with technology, I think if you're going to invest in a technology stack like your CRMs, your job boards, your social media platforms, whatever it is you're investing in, know where its weaknesses are and then know how to navigate it, right? That's the most critical bit for me, because if you acknowledge there's a weakness in it, but you know the candidates are still in there, you've got to get to them. And there's always a way. There's always a logical way. So don't stop and go, it's broken. Go, what do I need to do? Call us, basically. Call you and me, Vanessa, right? We got them covered.
because we actually quite enjoy sorting out these puzzles, and you know, it doesn't feel like work, so give us a shot. So I just want to quickly comment on something in the chat over here. So hey to everyone who said hello, really good to see you. I'm from LinkedIn, from live in the recruiting gym. I saw Louise, Stephen, so good to see you guys. And then John, who's one of the people we're going to meet at Sourcing Summit in Amsterdam next month, says think English, and oh yes, there are estimated 160 dialect variations and main language libraries. So there's Canadian English, Australian English, New Zealand English, South African English, which is, you know, very special, Indian English. So yeah, lots and lots of different dialects to think about when you're looking at languages too. So wow, yeah, good point there. So Gabi, before you go and charge off to the beach, I'm looking forward to some photos later on WhatsApp. Tell me some parting thoughts. Where do we see Boolean sourcing? Where are we going to close out in 2023?
Do you know what? Boolean is going to become front and center for every single business. It's a non-negotiable. As a 19th century technique, it was progressive. Now, with more and more people coming onto the internet and more platforms that candidates are hiding in, there is no option but for recruiters all around the world to step up and step into the world of Boolean to really get the best from their search. And I think that's going to keep going and growing and growing and growing. I don't think that's a 2023 end. That is kind of the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, because candidates are everywhere. They are scattered everywhere, and every different platform has its own little filter combinations, which is slowing you down. Boolean is the language of commonality, so should be your language of love if you want to stay ahead and get the speed and accuracy for your hunt. That's my view.
It's going to be a prerequisite for recruiters changing jobs, talent acquisition professionals. That, you know, I heard such a good saying the other day that, you know, you don't want to lose an opportunity to someone who uses AI because you choose not to use it. And I think that with AI around, you know, Boolean's actually just become a whole lot easier. So just one more comment from Andrew in the chat, and he says that he's found that, sorry, it's got something written over that. Let me just move it. Much easier to find people from the software dev industry, but I'm struggling to find mid-level candidates in the engineering sector. Are there any suggestions or for other sites or techniques that can allow me to find these kinds of people? So Gabi, do you want to take that first? Engineers, where would you look for engineers?
Well, do you know what's fun about this question? Is actually I sometimes don't, like, I know where you're going to go. I know the X-ray dance. I know, I can feel it. But so how about I take this side? I'll take the in-platform searching, and you can go the X-ray, because I know you're the specialist in the X-ray world. If I was striving to find the mid to junior level guys, what tends to be is the fact their job titles are all over the place. Right? More senior guys are, I'm a director, I'm a senior manager, I'm blah, right? They're very absolute. Where juniors are a lot more creative on how they explain themselves because of the free text format we allow them to write their job titles within platforms. So what I would do is what I call a reverse engineered search. So if you're using something like a LinkedIn Recruiter, for example, I would actually put the companies that you would want to target as a Boolean string in the company field section and put it to current. I would then put a keyword search in the bottom element of it and look for those candidates, include some of the seniority determinations, right, in terms of junior, yada, yada, yada. But then look at the job titles. Look at what these people are calling themselves from the lower levels, and then capture those job titles and include them in your search, because it's the fact they call themselves very unique combinations, where director and manager is pretty absolute. As a junior, you're an analyst, or maybe you're not an analyst. Like, start looking at how people are talking about themselves, or even run a search on the company you're supporting and look at what their guys are calling themselves and grab those job titles and include those in your search, right?
The more the merrier.
Exactly. So there you go. That's my in-platform perspective. Vanessa, go for X-ray.
So for me at that level, I would actually throw into my X-ray kind of Boolean from a Google search or from Bing, that people who are, the mid-level, they're still doing what's called the CPD points. So you can identify them by, a lot of these engineers have to do a certain number of courses every year to get a certain number of points in order to maintain that speciality. So if you can figure out, like a civil engineer needs CPD points in this space, mechanical this space, chemical that space, and find out who are the organizations that are certifying these people, the training organizations, is also a great way to tap into another kind of engineering audience at a lower level. That's what I would go for. Cool. Well, listen, Gabi, I'm not going to stop you and the family from getting to the beach. Off you go. Have a great day. I do look forward to photos, and I'll see the rest of you same time, same place tomorrow. So tomorrow, let me just quickly introduce, I've got John Smith coming, who is one of my clients. He's based in the north of England, and he's actually really interesting because he looks for construction contractors around the Carlisle area. So we're going to be discussing how he sources that talent. So Gabi, you're amazing. Thank you very much, and I will chat soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Okay, excellent. Cheers, guys. Bye.